Okay, welcome. I'm trying to expand my font. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, that's as big as it's gonna get. Okay, so this is my series. I thought I would keep myself accountable by making a video series. Um, yeah, uh, about my language learning process with regards to Czech. I have decided, like less than or like within a week ago, to learn Czech. I don't know why Czech specifically. Um, I like the sound of the language. I like Slavic languages, and Czech is a Slavic language. I like that region of the world, the climate, the terrain, the landscapes. Always the people, like those people, the Czech people seem down to earth. Um, the women are gorgeous, the men are cool, and yeah, the cuisine looks appetizing and just looks like somewhere I'd like to visit. And everybody's heard of Prague, maybe Pilsner beer, maybe Jaromír Jágr, a famous hockey player, Dvorak, the composer. Um, I think Freud was Czech, although I'm not a fan of Freud. Anyway, so yeah, there's many reasons I think to choose Czech as a language. I think I have many reasons, but I don't. They don't necessarily stand out as different from like 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 I want to learn Kazakh and Kyrgyz. Basically, some reasons. Bulgarian, Albanian, basically same reasons. But I got to start somewhere, and like yeah, so I chose Czech. Um, Now I'm like I said, I'm roughly 1 week into Czech. I've had one tutoring session with a tutor from Italki, and mostly meet and greet, mostly the alphabet. But I already knew the alphabet. Like I can't pronounce things perfectly. Obviously, I'm 1 week in. That little R with the little hachek, which is the little like circumflex, upside down circumflex. This one right here. That's just tough to say. I think for all people learning Czech, unless, and I think it's unique to Czech. So I don't know if your language would have it. It's like a. They say it's like a trilled R, like a r, followed by the j, but together, like rj, rj, rj. That's what they say. But when I hear those words that have those letters, I don't hear rj. In fact, I almost don't hear the r. I hear the j, and so yeah, so that's gonna take time, right? So like dobrze, dobrze, dobrze. That's my best right now. Dobrze, 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 dobrze. Dziękuję. Okay, so I've looked over the greetings right now. Like if I let me change this so you see that I'm not cheating. Well, you don't know I'm not cheating, but like I know ahoy, I know dobry den, I know dober dobry večer, I know dobre odpoledne, I know dobry rano. I think that's right. Sometimes I get confused if it's dobry or dobre, but that'll come later. For they also say ciao for hello and ciao for goodbye. Naschledano, naschledano. Thank you is děkuji. Sometimes they just say diki, and also děkuji. I think děkuji is a more polite version, and děkuji is a more informal version, but I'm not sure. But all those three are acceptable for thank you. A ti and you, avi and you, polite. So ti, how about you? Promintie, like please or pardon me, excuse me. Prosim, I think prosim is please. Um, ano is no, is yes. Sorry, ano is yes, and ne is no. Um, the ano is a little bit weird because it just has the no sound in it and it sounds like no, but it's actually yes. Yaksemash, how are you? Yaksemate, yaksemat, yaksemate. That's my best Czech sound. What else? I know a few words. Uh, Ratie poznavam. Ratie poznavam. Like nice to meet you. And polite is rad vas poznavam. Rad vas poznavam. Nice to meet you. More formal. Okay, so that's roughly, and like I said, I can read. I can read in Czech. There's always going to be a few things that I can't read because it's not phonetic, completely phonetic, but mostly it's phonetic. So beautiful. Okay. Now I have books because I love books. So I have books as resources. I have apps that I use, and again, I do tutoring once a week. I just started. I only had one lesson. I'm going to have tutoring once a week with a native Czech. It's a dude, which is usually I like to choose good-looking girls just because why not? But this guy's cool. His prices are more reasonable than some of these other tutors, and as long as I got along great with him on my first session. So yeah, like good to go. I'm not here just to like hire good-looking female tutors, but all things being equal, like to me, why not? But in this case, like my tutor's a dude, good guy. Okay, so I've already sent him this list. This is the list that I've sent him, and I told him I want to cover each lesson. I want it to be exclusively this list. And I'm in the process of making some grammar points like that correspond to lesson one, lesson two grammar points. Um, to fill in, like we do 45-minute sessions, and sometimes just going over these words, even though some of them we're going to review old words and then learn the new words, that's not enough. So let me pull out the first book. From this book, this is Beginner's Czech. It's from the series called Beginner's Czech. And the main author's name is Eva Cerna, Cerna, but if she's Czech, that's Cerna. That's the first one. There's others. So this book has a bunch of grammar charts, declension charts, conjugation charts, the declension for the possessive adjectives, for the direct object pronouns. It has the subject pronouns. And so, but unfortunately, it has like, which it's my pet peeve. It has, here's chapter 2. And over here is the beginning vocabulary. And then I'll flip the page. I don't know if I can flip the page. And it just goes on. It's another page of vocabulary, right? To me, if I'm learning the grammar of a language, I want the bare minimum vocabulary so then I could start using the language, right? Like, it's like the grammar is the machine, right? So if I want to teach you, let's say, like, I'll give you my shitty analogy. If you get hired to work at a company and you have to run this machine, and let's say it's just an ice cream machine, but there's certain levels and things you have to do. Like, I don't need to learn all the damn flavors. I don't need to learn the 31 flavors or the 1,000 flavors, like name them, see what they are. Like, just show me one flavor and show me how to run the machine. I can run the machine using, like, with vanilla. Like, I'll run the machine with vanilla. I don't need to run it with chocolate, with strawberry, with pistachio. I don't, right, but like, I just want to run the machine. Yes, language is not exactly, the analogy doesn't work exactly like that because I'm going to need more words to make sentences, but keep it to a minimum, right? And that's what all of these books that I have so far get wrong, in my opinion. They're not for me. Like, they're not, like, I prefer a book that kept the vocabulary to a minimum, gave me enough to make sentences and add a little variety, but not so much where I'm learning, like, where it's really just putting me off from studying, because who wants to sit down and try to memorize 30 to 40 words every chapter? It's like, I'm not getting to the dialogues. I'm not getting to the exercises because I'm not doing anything really. I'm just like, it just puts me off. Okay, so this is my gripe with this series, with this book. Colloquial Czech. Good explanations. Good exercises, apparently, if you can tackle the dialogue. If you end up like, if you have the like willpower to like go to each word and like match the definition and like, okay, but like, who wants to do that? Like, yeah. Anyway, so another good book, if you're not hung up like I am, or if it doesn't bother you like it bothers me, of getting way too much vocabulary early and often in the chapters. But this is a good book though by James Naughton. This is a good book, but it has that one, to me, glaring problem. This book I don't have a complaint about. It is what it is. It's not like deceptive. It says Czech and 55 easy dialogues. This is a dual language one. It has the Czech dialogue and below it has the English basically translation. And so you're matching that way. This is not intended for beginning students, I don't think. This is intended for at least post beginner or intermediate level or beginning intermediate level. And when I get to that stage, I will use this book and I won't be frustrated looking up every single word and like, yeah. So, okay. I also picked up this awesome, pretty chunky book, dictionary. Czech and Slovak are roughly mutually intelligible. This is by Josef Fronek, Velký Česko-anglický slovník. I'm not sure what that says, but I'm assuming it says like Czech, English, Slovak dictionary. Okay. Otherwise, I know what it is. I just don't know what it says. Okay, but good book. It has like and the inside is nice too. It has like, I don't know if it'll show up, but the lettering for the Czech is in red, and then the English is in black. And it's not overly done. It's like it's kind of easy to find the definition. Some dictionaries like that's just a chore. I bought this series because I found a bunch of books when I first started Czech. But again, let me show you chapter 4 vocabulary. It's a full page. This is chapter 4, full page. This side, all of this. That's like 40 words. That's like 40 words. I'm not learning 40 words. So, do you want to learn Czech? This is book 1. Again, presentation is nice. The grammar points are nicely explained. And they have they have exercises that like are good, but it's too much vocabulary. It's too much vocabulary. So, not using it. Another book that I'm not using that also is very good from all. Čeština hro. Czech for fun. Another excellent book, I think. Excellent book, other than, which might be a major other than, too much vocabulary, right? This book is like over 500 pages, if you include a little bit of the index. Yeah, so good explanations, good grammar explanations, some colloquial, some cultural tidbits, which to me I don't really care about. I mean, not that I don't care about them, I just don't want them as I'm learning my language. But good explanations, good exercises. The dialogues seem to be interesting. Well, they are interesting once you know what translation is, but it's too much vocabulary. It's too much vocabulary. And I have the workbook. The workbook is also very good. I usually hate workbooks. Usually workbooks are almost worthless to me, but this workbook seems to have decent exercises, not great, decent. So I'm not disappointed with the workbook. But again, since I'm not using the textbook, I'm not going to use the workbook. Okay, so on order, I have a book by a language learning company called Hugo. Hugo is an old language learning company, and they used to put out. They're kind of like Pimsleur, kind of like Asimil, kind of like the Teach Yourself books. They put out books and accompanying cassettes. I don't even think they ever got to the point where they were so popular when CDs came out. That's how old it is. But their books are excellent. Their books for learning Spanish are excellent. But the Hugo Spanish book, and it's small. It's small like the colloquial series book. It's that size. It's kind of like, yeah. It's not going to be any bigger than this. It's not going to be any bigger than this. It's blue, and it says Hugo in red, and I was really impressed with their Spanish book. The Japanese book is also pretty good, and so I'm hoping their Czech book is good, and it's not going to overwhelm me with vocabulary. And I don't remember being overwhelmed with vocabulary in the Spanish and Japanese book, so that might be the book I need. Like that might be the book for me. I'm actually good at understanding grammar. Like my English grammar, I understand English grammar pretty well. And so I can pick up a grammar book like Spanish, Japanese, whatever, any languages grammar book, and pretty much teach myself grammar. So it's not that I have a problem with the grammar for these. It's just like it's too much vocabulary. Because to me, like language learning, like the difficult part is vocabulary acquisition, right? Like imagine you knew 2,000 words in Spanish already. You'd be conversational. Even if you don't know how to make sentences, you already have like cookie cutter expressions like me llamo Tomás, muy bien, gracias. ¿Cómo te llamas? You don't have to know any of that grammar. So if you know what these sentences mean, you know how to employ them, you know how to use them, right? So that's the hardest part of like becoming conversational is getting this vocabulary in. And that's what they're giving you first thing. They're giving you a ton of vocabulary. It's like, can't you kind of facilitate things for me? Can't you make things easier? Can I take some baby steps? Can't we make this progressive? Why do you have to just like flood me with vocabulary? Like that doesn't work. Anyway, that's my beef. That's my gripe. That's why in the series that I'm making, by the way, when I say basic Spanish vocabulary, I mean basic Spanish grammar, I'm keeping the vocabulary to a minimum. But when it's time to learn vocabulary, like in the imminent fluency series that I'm making for Spanish, that is vocabulary acquisition. That is, but I'm trying to help you. Like I break down the videos into like 10 to 15 words per hour video. I'm giving you 10 to 15 words, and we're learning a little, and we're learning tidbits that are meant to help you. So if I'm giving you grammar in the imminent fluency series, it's only in the service of helping you remember the vocabulary or the expression. If I'm giving you cognates, if I'm giving you etymology, if I'm giving you something like weird or like whimsical or like just anything to help you to make the association between the meaning and the word, that's the only purpose those other things are serving, right? I'm not giving you grammar for grammar's sake, right? I'm not giving you etymology for etymology's sake. Like, who cares if you know aquí comes from the word hic in Latin? No, as long as you remember that hic is kind of like here, and then aquí means here. That's the whole reason I'm giving you etymology. Okay, so anyway, why did I get off on this tangent? So I'm learning Czech. If you are a Czech speaker, like, well, it doesn't matter. Um, this is so I'm accountable. My tentative plan is to make one of these every week. And like, of course, I'm not going to make a lot of progress from week to week. So, but I was going to make it every 2 weeks or even maybe once a month. But no, since it's accountability that I want to be served, I want to be on this. I want to keep staying on this. So as I have one lesson a week with my tutor, I'm gonna make these are gonna also be one weekly updates, and I will say what I can say without the assistance of any lists or charts for me to read off of, and then we'll see. And then we'll see my pronunciation gets better. We'll see what words I accumulate and what sentences I can say, and then later, like what grammar I can employ to make different sentences of the same patterns or things like that. Okay, so Czech. Czech is on the list. I'm studying Czech. If you don't know, I'm also doing a poor job of studying Japanese. It's very slow going. I'm not learning how to read Japanese. I'm using the Romaji. I know. And then I was studying Kazakh, but I think Kazakh is going to get sacrificed because I'm having a hard time making progress in Kazakh. I've lost somewhat my motivation for Kazakh. I still want to learn it, but I have like, I don't know why, I have like a stronger desire to learn Czech. And part of it, I think, is just it's going to be easier for me to learn Czech than Kazakh. Although I can read Cyrillic, that's not really the big problem. But Czech is, I think, easier to pronounce, other than that damned zh, zh. All right, so okay. Oh, by the way, I use an app called Mondly. It's basically like Duolingo. I had to pay for Mondly, but it has, but it was less than $100 lifetime. And this is not an advertisement, by the way. I'm getting zero money. But it has a bunch of languages, and I had to check which languages because there's many languages that I want to learn, and I wanted to make sure that it had like at least like a handful of them. Otherwise, it wasn't going to be worth it. for me to pay for it, but it does. It has like Russian, which I want to learn. It has Croatian, which I want to learn. Obviously, it has Czech. It has Japanese, uh, and it had some other languages which I'm considering. Um, okay, that's it. So thanks for watching, and yeah, this series is mostly for me. Like you guys are not here to benefit from my speaking shitty Czech. It's just for me to be accountable, and hopefully I start not to sound like the ugly American tourist in Prague. Praha. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to stop sharing, and hopefully I've not screwed this up and I've recorded what I wanted to record. Nashledano.